What's up, home bartenders? Welcome to a special Valentine's Day episode. Today, we're going to make a rose syrup and also transform it into a rose liqueur. Let's do it. And make sure you're subscribed because in the next episode, we're going to be making some rose cocktails. All right, so we need some rose petals. These are dried rose petals I got from Amazon, and we're going to measure out about 10-15 grams of rose petals. Okay, there it is. These are food grade. Make sure that, the label does say food grade. And then we're going to crack and use about half a cinnamon stick. That's going to give it a little depth of flavor. You're not really going to pick up on cinnamon, but it'll be there. And then we want about 300 ml of vodka. Okay, as always, guys, I'm going to vacuum seal these in a bag because I'm going to infuse this sous vide. You don't have to. You could put this in a mason jar and let it sit on the shelf or in the cupboard for 5 to 7 days. I'm going to do it sous vide because it only takes 2 hours at 135 Fahrenheit. All right, so stick it in the water bath and, as I mentioned, 135 for about 2 hours. Meanwhile, we have to make a rose syrup. So in a pot, we've got a cup of water, we've got a cup of sugar. Well, actually, first we're going to dump in about the same amount of rose petals, 10 grams, and then we're going to do a cup of sugar. So simple syrup with some rose petals. That's essentially it. And then we're just going to let that simmer, stir it around until the sugar fully dissolves. We can let this come to a gentle simmer, but you don't want to boil it because roses, flowers, it's a delicate flavor, so you don't want to burn it. So remove it from the heat and let it cool completely. We're then going to add a splash of rose water. That's really going to intensify the flavor. Don't go overboard with the rose water. A splash, maybe a tablespoon, is all you need. All right, amazing. You know what? A little more rose water just to really brighten up that flavor. And I'm also going to use some red food coloring because the color didn't really come out red. It depends on the petals you're using. Fresh petals will probably give you a lot more color, but I'm going to add some red food coloring just to make that color pop. All right, syrup is ready, so we just got to strain out those petals. So we got a nut milk bag or use a cheesecloth, and we're going to strain it into a bottle. And yeah, just a couple drops of red food coloring, and look at that color. There's your rose syrup. So if you're just making the syrup, that's all you need to do, but we're not. We're making liqueur, so back to the sous vide bag, which has finished infusing. It's been a couple hours. We're going to, same process, cut open the bag, strain out the rose petals into a jar. This one infused a lot more color. It's still not fully red. It's more of an amber color. I'm also going to add some rose water to the infused vodka, again, just to ramp up that rose flavor. Give that a little taste. Whew. Now that is rose vodka. It's no sweetness yet. So now we're going to combine the two to make our finished liqueur. And this is a sweet liqueur. You want your rose liqueur to be sweet, so we're going roughly a 1-to-1 ratio. You can play with that. You can go 2-to-1. I wouldn't go past that. It's going to be a little too bitter and too intense. But yeah, you want this sweet, so roughly 1-to-1. All right, so I added almost the full bottle of rose syrup. That's probably like 1.5-to-1. Give that a taste. And it's good, but you know what? Put the rest of it in. Let's go 1-to-1. Rose liqueur is done. All that's left to do is bottle it. You can do a final strain through a coffee filter if you want. I didn't because it's actually quite clear already. There wasn't much that needed infusing. And there it is. Slap on that sexy label. Good to go. Guys, the rose liqueur is done, ready to taste. But before we taste it, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that little bell, get notified, because in the next episode, we're going to be making 3 cocktails that you can make on Valentine's Day using your homemade rose liqueur. You can also use the rose syrup if you didn't go the extra mile for the rose liqueur. All right, let's give this liqueur a taste. Love the color. We did add a little coloring because it didn't come out quite as red, but I have no issues with coloring. Once you add a few drops of red, it looks amazing. Cheers. The nose on this is incredible. It's like sticking your nose into a bouquet of roses. It's quite intoxicating. So definitely tastes like roses, tastes like flowers. If you've had other floral liqueurs, like a creme de violette or elderflower liqueur, it's got that floral essence. It's very nice, actually. I didn't think I'd like this liqueur. Even as I'm making it, when I was smelling the infusion and the syrup, I'm like, yeah, it smells like roses, but But once it's all together, it's been sitting around a little bit, not very long, but a little bit. Obviously, it just gets better over time, but right now, it is pretty good. It's nice and syrupy. Sometimes when I do an infusion plus a syrup, because the syrup does have water, it's not as syrupy as I'd like it, but this one is actually kind of thick. We did go for pretty much a 1-1. Some liqueurs, you want to be on the high end, so you maintain a high ABV. Other liqueurs, like fruit liqueurs, you do want a good amount of sweetness. It's meant to be fruit liqueur. It's meant to be sweet. So this one here, we did do a 1-to-1. So we stuck to, it's probably about 20% alcohol because we started with a 40% vodka. If you want to up the ABV without losing too much sweetness, just use a higher proof vodka. I have trouble finding high proof vodkas. I'll have to order some Everclear soon, one of these days. But if you want to do that, just start with a higher proof vodka. Your final product will be higher proof without losing too much of the sweetness. Oh man, that's good. I really, really enjoy that. Yeah, I didn't think I would enjoy rose liqueur, but this is really good. All right, guys, I do hope you give this a try. Again, if you don't want to go the extra mile to make the liqueur, you can just make the syrup. We're gonna do some cocktails in the next episode. It's gonna be fairly interchangeable, whether you wanna use the liqueur or whether you wanna use just the syrup. It's fairly interchangeable, so don't worry about that. If you wanna see, if you're watching this at a later date and we've already released the 3 cocktails, make sure you click that video right there to see those 3 rose cocktails. Otherwise, we do have a playlist of past videos of Valentine's Day videos. We got strawberry cocktails and all sorts of fun red Valentine's Day themed cocktails. Click that playlist right there. We will see you in the next one. Cheers.